fate of Chinese Taipei versus Argentina is yet to be decided here in Group B of the Hearthstone Global Games. My name is Falcone. I am casting today with White Wall, and this is the bracket. We have seen Hong Kong qualify. We have seen Mexico eliminated, but now Chinese Taipei and Argentina will be duking it out. The winner of which will make it through to top 8. The loser we will sadly be saying goodbye to. Now, I've had the pleasure of casting Argentina a lot today, and I don't believe that I've seen Chinese Taipei yet, as I believe, was that a Derek I heard there?
It was indeed. Hey, buddy.
There he is. There he is.
Hey, guys.
What can you tell?
Got my brew ready to go. Sorry about that.
It's all good. What can you tell me about Chinese Taipei, Derek?
Well, Mr. Daniel Falcone, I can tell you that despite the high amount of respect I have for Chinese Taipei as a Hearthstone playing nation, I think that it's been a little bit rocky in the Hearthstone global games so far, to be perfectly honest. I think that Shaxi has consistently been one of the best players in Asia-Pacific Grandmasters, but he's shown a little bit of misunderstanding of both deck building and matchups. And this is not at all to say that he has been playing like bad Hearthstone. This is just compared to the very high standard that I hold him in as a player. But the warrior I felt like was not particularly well built. You know, no Hakkar, no Elysiana, meant he just lost the warrior mirror. There was no chance whatsoever. Even the druid that they've gone for with Chef Nomi, I feel like is a significantly weaker build of the deck compared to the Baleful Banker version that a lot of players are going for. And I think some of their play has been a little bit sloppy, but if they can tighten up their play, it really won't matter too much that their decks are slightly unoptimized, I think, as they are still very, very strong players with the potential to go the full way.
What I will say is that Narina has been a joy to watch throughout this tournament, actively preying on screen and making a full show of his emotions, right down to the fact that he seems to have skeletons on his wall behind him, which I'm enjoying, personally.
Yeah, it's kind of like a dog when he used to stream, right, with the skeleton in the background. Does he still have that? I haven't really watched his stream in a while.
Honestly, I'm not sure.
I like that skeleton. Either way, jumping into Quest Shaman versus the Highlander Mage, the Reno Mage. Kind of an interesting matchup, one that I haven't seen all too much recently. But I'd have to, at a guess, say that I feel like this version of Shaman should be in a slightly better place against the Mage, given that it has a bit more sustainability than the Evolved Shaman. Is this one that you've run into before?
The matchup, I don't believe that I've seen this one today. But yeah, I mean, if I had to guess, I would say that we probably get to the mid-game, no problem. The Shaman's quest gets completed, and then, in theory, the overwhelming longevity and value from that Shaman hero power, not to mention damage, thanks to Life Drinkers, Lackeys, and Weaponized Wasp, I should imagine that would get the job done.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? And, I mean, the way I said that made it sound like I have some contrary information. I agree with your assessment for certain. It's really just the fact that Mage has quite a few big minions towards the end of its curve, which Quest Shaman has traditionally struggled against. Its removal options are very, very limited because the deck is almost entirely minions, so of course it's going to be less reactive, a bit more proactive. So I think if it gets to the point where later on we're seeing a whole lot of pressure without the Shaman having developed some pressure of his own, I think then the Mage will definitely be able to run away with things.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't call the Shaman a huge favorite here by any means. Just a you know, a favorite, but not like nothing as drastic as like 60-40 favorite. Somewhere between 50 and 60 mark. Either way, Narina is going to be, as we said, fighting to get that quest completed. Now G'dan very cleanly clearing the board, using up the Ray of Frost there, which is quite valuable just to get rid of that evil totem. Goes to show how afraid of it he is.
And rightly so. Against Quest Shaman, I absolutely agree that Evil Totem is very, very high priority kill target, because otherwise quest completion comes right at the start of the game, the lackeys start running haywire, and it's very difficult to ever wrestle the board back. But at the moment, I'm seeing, well, I've got to be honest, nothing but good news for Nalg'Odan. He's got a very beautiful curve coming up in the next few turns. Like, if he just goes 4-drop here, you know, it's off curve, but fine, whatever. And then Sylvanas, Siamat, the Pilgrim, and then the Alexstrasza is just a devastatingly powerful curve that I wonder if the Shaman has the ability to overcome.
The bad news for Nalg'Odan there is how is he dealing with this evil totem now? It's going to be spitting out a lackey every single turn, and that may not sound like much now, but it does mean the quest will be completed quite quickly. And when the quest is completed, those battle cries might actually be enough to put a stop to Nalg'Odan's powerful minions.
I wonder. What to do?
So obviously the biggest tempo play that we're looking at on this turn, or just the best body to put into play, would be Barista Lynch. And it's not honestly terrible here, but I'd have to imagine that they want to save it for a slightly more specific purpose, which is to say later on, trying to copy any damage cards, I would actually wager, like Kobold Lackeys that have generated weaponized wasps, Life Drinkers, that can push that little bit of extra damage rate. There you go, sneakers along. Because once they get a bit of chip damage early on, I imagine that losing board is probably something that will happen eventually versus the mage. Their minions are just a bit too big and their AoEs a bit too powerful. But at that point, you can just quite happily turn into shooting everything in the face, which may be able to get there.
That curve that you were talking about before, I mean, it's still there, but Nalg'Odan gonna have to, or is choosing to change his tact a little bit there. Ends up with a 4-3 and a 3-3, which isn't necessarily much stronger than Sylvanas, if stronger at all, but I guess he's decided he needs to be able to have multiple attacks next turn to hopefully get rid of this evil totem and whatever else Narina plays.
Yeah, it's also just a nice ping on the 4-1 there, makes for a very nice, easy trade. I think I like this a lot over the Sylvanas, which at the moment is not oppressively powerful. Honestly, for most of this matchup, it probably won't be that strong.
But there you go. There is the Hero Power Sludge Slurper, Kobold Lackey, double Kobold Lackey to clear the entire board. And now Narina is well and truly in control. Yes, there is a Flame Strike available for Nalg'Odan next turn. He may well decide that's what he has to do, but the problem is it's not developing in any way. All it does is force Narina off of the board, then passes the turn back to Narina for him to go Hero Power, both lackeys, for example.
Yeah.
Is there a better play than Flame Strike here, maybe?
Well, I mean, honestly, I was more focusing on Narina's side there, where he just played out both Kobold Lackeys, which are pretty important. I guess he's still a ways away from doing damage to the face quite yet, so it's probably fine. And then on the other side, sorry, for Nalg'Odan, as you were saying, with the Flame Strike, it definitely looks very tempting right now. Like, are you expecting to see something more threatening on the following turn? Maybe. What happens if you play Siamat here and go Rush Divine Shield? It's not terrible.
Yeah. This doesn't really achieve much more than the Flame Strike does, though, does it?
Yeah, I guess the problem really
And the
is though
fact that...
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, the fact that two Kobold Lackeys were just played, does that maybe hint that there's a third Kobold Lackey in the hand as well that would just take down the Siamat instantly?
Probably can't quite make that read, but I guess Siamat on that board is a little bit underwhelming. My thinking was just, you know, if you have this many lackeys and stuff in hand, you're probably going to be facing down a nice big board next turn anyway. But I guess if they do develop another big board, you can quite happily Flame Strike and then...
Yeah. Armor Smith.
Not terrible.
Of course it's the right way.
Could just evolve the 2-2, I guess. Oh, maybe Narina doesn't want to throw anything else into this turn, though. Bait out the Flame Strike now, or the Reno now, and then continue to develop next turn. If this board survives, great, you can play Barista.
Oh, it's just right on the cusp of being good enough to warrant a Flame Strike. Like, if you play the extra Witchy Lackey and get a good 4-drop, they kind of have to Flame Strike it away. Whereas if you didn't, I think they could have happily developed whatever big 8-drop they have.
Okay. That's definitely not what I'd consider a good 4-drop.
Yes.
So
sure.
maybe it still isn't a Flame Strike then.
What to do?
It is 12 damage.
What to do?
Damage that you don't really want to take against a deck that does run Life Drinkers and Wasps.
What are the plays other than Flame Strike? They're not running Luna's Pocket Galaxy, so going for the Pilgrim probably feels was that Primalist Pilgrim? Can't actually remember the name of that card. The Tortollan.
The Tortollan
Pilgrim,
yeah.
Pilgrim, yeah, okay. Tortollan Pilgrim would mean that they aren't going for Luna's Pocket Galaxy. They can't hit Flame Strike. They can't hit Blizzard. So that's probably a little bit too unimpressive. The only good card they have left is the Power of Creation, as I see it. So I think I'd probably prefer Flame Strike over that. Yeah. It's just good, right? Like, even if you're going to face a decent board for a Flame Strike, you're probably not going to face one that's much better than this.
Second Life Drinker appears now, so that is going to be 12 damage at some point when Narina has the mana available. And even just double Life Drinker into Barista, given that Blizzard and a Flame Strike have both just been played. Although I guess Reno could still clear out the board nicely. And as we can see, the Seer map with Rush Wind Fury still can do some clearing.
I really like starting with Hero Power.
Yeah,
starting with Hero Power Faceless Lackey seems smart. If you get some good battle prides, you could go for Barista Lynchen to bounce the 2-drops back to your hand. This would now mean 2 Faceless Lackeys and 2 Galvanizers. But considering Galvanizer's battle cry is basically nothing, I agree that you just load up with that and try and get a better Barista later. This is somewhat of an interesting spot now for Nalgodan. I'm wondering if you ever go Kartut plus Doomsayer to set up for like a guaranteed clear board on the following turn, which allows you to potentially play N'Zoth, or maybe just a Alexstrasza, something like that. Maybe even an Antonidas.
Yeah, Cartoon Doomsayer is really fascinating. It's very difficult to deal with this. I'm staring at Sandstorm Elemental, trying to work out if that with the hero power is enough, and I don't think it is it?
I don't think so, no.
No,
yeah, I think this is very smart.
It's not.
Desert Hare
so
obviously can
what
be
Narina
used to
can do
summon.
Is
that could summon 9 hares here if there was enough board space with Khadgar, funnily enough.
I wonder.
Brilliant. What Narina can do is play that Barista with the hero power and get 2 more Life Drinkers this turn, and that's probably a good enough use of the time, right?
Sure. Yeah.
3 Life Drinkers in the hand, that's a lot of damage over the next few turns. Plus
yeah,
you get
probably
the
can't
Faceless
afford to
Lackey
take a
back.
full turn off the pedal. Yeah.
Alright, did I miss the clear? Or is he using this to duplicate?
Little time.
Maybe he's using it to duplicate the Sandstorm Elemental with Barista.
Oh, right.
Does that work?
Yeah, it does, right? You play the now.
Yep. There you go.
And get all of these back.
Nice spot.
Okay. Yeah, that's clever.
I like that.
It does mean he overloads for 1, but that's probably a fair exchange.
I think so.
In return for an extra Sandstorm. Yeah. But Nalgodan's bought what he needed this entire game, which is an empty board. Time to slam the old god. Get these Kartuts back in play. This makes a lot of sense to me. I think that developing a board and then playing Alexstrasza seems better, because then you still have the potential to go for a defensive Alexstrasza if necessary.
So with double Sandstorm Elemental, both with the hero power in the hand for Narina, he certainly can clear a lot of this quite easily.
Well, he can't actually take any attack off the board. Is the problem? He just
No, he can't
plays
deal with
off
the
the
3/1s, can he?
original cards. So maybe it's, we're looking at just like a hero power hair evolve turn. Yeah, this makes sense.
All right. If he does find any damage, then he could still follow up with one of these Sandstorm Elementals. Or I guess he could play Faceless Lackey first and get a full board of evolves.
Yeah, sure. In before Doomsayer.
Oh,
believed.
wow. Once again, who needs the Shaman hero power when you've got Spirit of the Shark?
Well, yeah, I always have to remind myself it doesn't trigger 4 times. It doesn't trigger 4 times. Just because I want it to so badly.
Did you play 2 brands in Battlegrounds, Derek, and try and get the
What to
quadruple battle
do?
cry?
What
Of course
to
I
do?
did. It makes sense, right? 2 times 2 is 4 quick maths.
Twice is actually just twice. Go figure.
Yeah. Well,
wonder.
we are looking at a surprising amount of damage, for Nalgerdaan with Alexstrasza, should he so desire. But alternatives, obviously being Siamat is a perfectly decent way to take out a couple of these minions off the board.
Time runs out on me. You're
Pilgrimist
in
does
my
have some
hands.
whips. Frost Nova, thankfully, is not one of them. And then chip off the armor. Gorgeous. And then threaten lethal next turn with Alexstrasza.
Okay, Mind Control Tech will deal with one of these minions. Weaponized Wasp, with no Lackey on the board, isn't going to deal with anything.
The only play to survive, as I see it, is MCT for a 50-50, because if he hits either of the 2 Kartuts, they won't actually steal, they'll just die, and then the Death Rattle will come
Yeah.
back and still offer lethal.
And it doesn't remove any power. Yeah.
That's right.
The board lock is actually the biggest downfall for Narina at the moment. If he could go
Yes.
Faceless Lackey into Weaponized Wasp, that would help. If he could play the MC Tech with space on the board and actually steal one of the Kartuts, that would help too.
I guess he doesn't know for sure that Alexstrasza is in hand, so maybe he doesn't go for the MCT and tries to get a better swing turn on one of the following turns. Yeah,
Was that hero power really necessary now, Narina?
of course it was.
Gotta use the it's mana efficiency. Use as much
Exactly.
mana as you possibly
I
can.
am life.
Alright, well there you go. There's going to be the lethal coming from the other side with Nalgerdaan and Argentina taking their first game of the series. Really interesting one.
I think very well played by Nalgerdaan for the most part. That spot with the Doomsayer setting up for a nice clear board, I think was very much on the money. Just allow him to get that tempo, which he absolutely seized to the best of his ability. The couple of board clears as well I thought was very smart. And I guess, honestly, maybe that's a matchup to reconsider. Because while you do traditionally think of Quest Shaman as a very good anti-control deck, in that instance, the tempo that Mage can seize in the late game is just too powerful, it appears.
Maybe. Certainly. Exactly. I mean, and Nalgerdaan had all of the tools that he really needed in the mid game. Maybe that's why he did have the Blizzard, the Flame Strike, got the Frost Nova from the Primalist. Sorry, from the Pilgrim. And yeah. Either way, we're going to move forwards. Nalgerdaan on the Priest now, saving that Shaman until last. The Shaman is the deck that I'm concerned about, given how poorly it performed earlier against Hong Kong.
I wonder if this is just a full toss against Warrior. Like, Injured Tolver is a good card, I suppose, so keeping one makes sense, just to get a bit of extra oomph early on. But I really just feel like whenever I play this matchup against Warrior, whatever strategy I go for that doesn't revolve around drawing lots of cards with Cleric at the start just doesn't win. Unless you get very lucky.
In the light's name.
Let the board clears begin for Narina.
Yeah, it's a very nice, easy way to start. One of the reasons why you would consider not going for Light Warden on the first turn, because you know that 2 weapons projects are being run in your opponent's deck.
I've got more left in me.
Okay, this turn gets a little bit more interesting, because you're obviously looking at Shield Slam as a potential. But you do, of course, know that you will very likely have Restless Mummy on the following turn, which is able to take out the 6 health
Yep.
Tolvir anyway.
How important is it to deal with this Tolvir right now? It feels like it's not, as a 2-3, posing that much of a threat. So I do like the just armor up and pass there.
Agreed. I think the thing that swings it for me is the weapons project in hand. The fact that you have access to 6 burst armor means that the Shield Slam will always be good, even if they go for some kind of a big inner fire play, and they get rid of all your armor.
And there's just a few decent options for Nalgudan here with Beaming Sidekick, Nefeset Ritualist. But what do you want to? What are you willing to throw in against the warrior, though? That is the question.
Well, the real problem with that play is that you know 2 out of 3 times minimum they have Restless Mummy to just take this out perfectly with the weapon as well. Like, it just works out so gorgeously for Narina. And obviously you have Psychopomp to follow up for a 50-50 chance to res it, but I don't know, man.
And also 2 other minions, which are going to start chunking away at the damage. Like, assuming Restless Mummy is the play this turn, it is only the injured Tolvir that gets taken out. The 2-3 and the 1-2 survive. Nalgudan has the weapon, which, yeah, okay, that's only 2 damage, but great, that is 2 more damage. And like you said, the Psychopomp itself is reasonable. So I think I like it. Just making use of the tools while they're there.
Yeah. Like, if you go just plain Psychopomp, that also goes wrong. If you go Acolyte, it also goes wrong. The Restless Mummy just takes it out. Like, to be fair to them, everything was bad there. Actually, everything. Maybe it was just heal was the best play there.
Narina not happy to see that injured Tolvir come back, though.
No, indeed. I mean, they've still got some pretty strong plays, right? Like, Restless Mummy is a 50% chance on this Town Crier, which would be fantastic. And even if you miss, like, just going Hero Power is fine. You're not taking that much damage at the moment.
What now?
You could even go Town Crier to start off. If you miss the Mummy, then you could go Weapons Project Shield Slam to take it out. Which is pretty clean.
Yep.
And he hit it anyway.
He did hit the Mummy, though, so charge that in, use the weapon to clear up the 2-1, but it gets reborn. And I think Narina's golden for now. Again, there's just small amounts of damage represented on the board, and not really much that Nalgudan can do. He does have the Pyromancer and the Acolyte of Pain, though. In a fire picked up too. Alright, this hand is starting to come together. It's not quite there yet, though.
There's definitely the rumblings of something starting, though. Do you go for it now, or do you just wait a turn? Do you just play the Acolyte? You probably can't just play the Acolyte. You probably want to save it to go with the Pyro. But my thinking is that at the moment, just Acolyte Pyro Coin feels pretty underwhelming. Like all of a sudden your entire board dies to Weapons Project, everything's still very weak to... sorry, not Weapons Project, Plague of Wrath, and everything's very weak to Warpath as well. Like, you're just not drawing all that much. Whereas I think saving might be a better way to draw more cards on a later turn.
Hey, speak to me. You like to play with fire?
They disagree, clearly.
Okay, this is a hand that continues to come together though. With one Acolyte draw and usually more draws from the Acolyte coming up. However,
Yeah.
Plague of Wrath is disgusting here,
It's
as a
not
former Hearthstone World Champion would say.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with saying you play the Plague of Wrath, but like, there's some argument to
Yeah.
not play it because it's your one piece of hard removal in case they go for Amit and all that nonsense. But I think when you're removing draw from your opponent's side of the board, that's so much more important. So I fully... My name's Derek Brown, and I endorse this Plague of Wrath.
Is someone injured?
Okay, well, once again, Weapons Project into Shield Slam is certainly an option to remove the one threat on the board. Kartu, I guess, is also playable, though that's a little bit more risky,
What now?
as a silence would pretty much just deal with that one immediately. There's no way quite to make that Dynamatic a definite kill on anything, is there? Weapons Project plus Dynamatic is still 1 damage off.
I wonder.
So in that case, it definitely feels like killing the Cleric is the #1 priority. In which case, just going Weapons Project Dynamatic very, 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 very likely kills off the Cleric. If you swing in first. Or either way.
Well, the alternative here is, yeah, killing off the Injured Playmaster and not damaging the Cleric should mean, given that we've just seen a Pyromancer used up, usually
Yeah,
that
okay.
Cleric doesn't actually draw anything.
Fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, okay, I'm alright with this one. Ooh. Powered Shield, though, could be starting to get a little bit scary.
Blade Master, okay, yep, the ball is rolling.
That is not what you wanted to see, it's very nice.
Get the heal now. Okay, yeah, Arena clearly unhappy with that one.
Ooh!
Circle of Healing, alright, the ball continues to roll. And with
Oh.
Ahmet, maybe that's a strike.
Ahmet
We've
into
got Ahmet
Psycho-
into Psychopomp next turn.
I'm seeing something happen. It was looking pretty over, in my opinion, for Nalgothan, but now, because of Arena's choice, you know, obviously that was pretty much the worst case scenario that could have happened after you leave a Cleric alive, but it's starting to come together.
It does seem like a hand that is slowly but surely coming together. And now for Narina, what do you do to deal with it? Dynamatic,
What
again,
now?
as with the previous turn, probably clears the Cleric, but is much less likely now than it was before. Otherwise, Snip, Snap, Roll is the other only real option. Oh no!
I must choose.
Oh! I guess all 5 hitting the
What?
Playmaster isn't so bad. Yeah,
What just happened?
well,
That wasn't oh
lot
no,
of
that was
50-50.
amazing. That was
okay.
utterly
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I mean, if one of those bombs hit the Cleric, it would have been a disaster. But actually,
Yes!
you're right, as it allowed the Blade Master to be killed, that worked out. My gut reaction was oh no because I expected to want to see the cleric kill, but you're right. This was much nicer.
What an absolute absurdity. And I mean, obviously Nalgadan just loads up with Hammer into Psychopath now. It's a fantastic play.
The end begins.
But honestly, I'm just flabbergasted that that happened. That's so unlikely.
Ooh. All right, Dogs have been ready to go for later. However, it's gonna have to be the brawl now. I feel
I think so too.
maybe kill the Nephthysset first, then play the brawl. Or just brawl and then kill the Nephthysset with the weapon. Actually, could always hit the face first, or hit the Armet first, just in case the Armet survives.
Sure.
So Dynamatic into Armet and then brawl.
Yeah, I wonder if you'd rather just take out the Cleric, because Cleric's so bad if it survives. Because it can bump into one of the 1/1s and start drawing again.
Yeah, true, true. Yeah, there that agrees with you. And in fact, no, he doesn't. He's just going to go ahead and play Doctor Doom.
It's a
Great cards
ballsy
in the
play,
hand. This
and
could easily be lethal.
yeah, leaves him very, very close to just being dead straight up. There's, what, 14, 17, 21 damage as I see it? Which ain't half bad at all.
I wonder.
But how does Nalgadan maximize his chances? Is his best shot here to just go giant Amet and then a couple of big guys thereafter? I think you could make a read that there's no brawl there. That would not be a ridiculous assumption to make at this point. Or, at the very least, to say if they do have brawl in this instance, I'm not winning the game anyway. I think I like the all-in push here. Like, things are slipping away.
Okay. I mean, maybe, yeah, maybe because of that last play from Arena, you have the read that it's just not there.
Quickly.
In which case, yeah, you push it, you go all in.
Yep. Let's go.
21 damage, heading straight to the dome.
Alright, okay, I guess when I say all-in push, this does give you the win if they don't have the removal, and the highest chance of your minions surviving if they have the brawl.
This is all in enough. And now it's going to be the brawl to decide the fate of this game.
Probably.
Is there any argument for Kartu?
Instead. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
They just
are you
lose
happy
to
to take
silence,
the
but
one
there is only
Time
one.
for a master plan.
Well, there is only one silence in the deck. So
You go
if silence is
Kartu-
the only card you just outright lose to,
Yeah. Like, Kartu,
no, you lose to Topsy
Kartu-
Turvy as well.
Well, you can take out the Amet. So you don't lose
Oh,
to
of
Topsy
course you
Turvy.
can. So yeah, you're right. In that case, it's just better.
I mean, not necessarily just better. Maybe it's better to trade in your 5/6 into the 14/14 so that you have like a 6 and 7 chance to win the brawl.
This would be a good time for a master plan.
But yeah, in the end they do rest on
I
the
mean-
Kartu defender.
Having had that discussion, I personally much prefer this. There's no cleric on the board. You only lose to a single silence, which there is one of in the opponent's deck. And otherwise, you heal for 6 this turn, and don't take any damage. It's a very nice stall, and you've got the second Kartu to follow up with, potentially.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing stopping you from just going Kartu, and hope to find an Azoth afterwards. It's a point so tense that both players appear to have been literally frozen in time by it.
Not too quickly.
I've got more left in me.
Alright, now we're done throwing everything he's gone from his board. Which probably means it's Brawl time. And I mean, at the end of the day, this Brawl feels much better than the last one. Because, well, even the worst case scenario that the 14-14 survives, with that hero power, he still lives.
Yep.
This is amazing for the warrior.
All right. The cards are down. The players are hidden. Let's see who comes out with the good news. That's going to be a warrior one.
That is going to be a big warrior win. And now, with no cards in hand and nothing represented on the board, that seems like that is going to be a GG.
Yeah, I don't think I'm seeing anything to pull Naruto back here with both Psycho Pompos having already been played and Amit already come down. I think there's nothing that can be done and Marina will eventually run away with the game.
By the power of Ragnaros, I have the
Of course, Emperor Thorosan, the traditional high attack, high tempo option.
Yeah,
Doesn't feel
okay, so plonk that powered shield on your opponent's minion. Maybe there's one miracle card that I snuck into my deck. No, I didn't. There's the game. Ties up this series for Chinese Taipei. The score is 1-1. That felt like quite a long game, Derek, but did it go as you expected?
Pretty much. I think it was a very good effort by Argentina. I agreed with the majority of their decisions. It's like whenever you're analyzing pre-games, you have to think down to the smallest details, like right at the start. Like, was it correct to play Light Warden on 1 when it was just killed off? Probably, because if they don't have it, you're in a very good spot. And I think even though at first I was hesitant to call their play going into turn 4 correct when they were playing around Restless Mummy, I think having seen it work out, their ability to kind of zoo onto the board and just get a bunch of small minions down was probably their best shot when every other option was equally terrible.
Agreed. Well, you know the score by now. It's 1-1. We are going to go to a very short break, but when we come back, we'll be concluding the series and finding out which of these teams is being eliminated and which of these teams is making it through to the HGG Top 8. We'll see you then. Chinese Taipei and Argentina have one goal right now, and that is to make it through to the top 8 of the Hearthstone Global Games. It all rests on this series. One of the teams is about to go home. Well, I mean, I guess they play from home, but, you know, in theory, in tournament-wise, they're about to go home. The other team will make it through. And Derek, the score is 1-1. Chinese Taipei have Shaman and Priest left. And, oh, we are heading straight into the game. Argentina has, I believe, their own Shaman, and was theirs also Priest they have left?
Should I take a look?
Yes. Yes, it is.
What is it? Yeah, Chinese Taipei, Shaman and Priest, and it is both combo Priests,
Yep.
and it is one Quest Shaman, sorry, for Chinese Taipei, and then it is the weird aggro Shaman, as we are about to see from Nalgodan. You would be forgiven for thinking that this is a token Shaman hand, but no, this is not the token Shaman, despite sharing a lot of the same cards. This is the aggro Shaman with Lava Burst, Rock Biter weapons, and Doom Hammers at the heart of the deck, which does mean that Nalgodan does, you know, he does have a little bit of extra removal going into this matchup, to be fair. Rock Biters and Lava Burst could be pretty good in this matchup. And when you pair that with the Desert Hare, Evolve, and Mogu nonsense that can occur, I'd say I think Nalgodan is in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen this deck performing all too well in the previous series today, but then in the last series that they played, it actually got banned, which was very surprising to me, given how poorly it had performed before. But now, I'm excited to see this one get a win. I told you this earlier, Derek. I'll say it again. I love decks like this.
Why?
It's so different compared to the regular Shaman that gets played, and also there's something about blasting your opponent in the face with Lava Bursts, right? Playing that Rock Biter weapon, swinging twice for 5 damage a time. I'm a real smoker at heart. I guess that's it.
I agree. It's just so innovative the way they play Desert Hare and then Mogu Flesh Shaper and then evolve them to make 8 drops and 4 drops on turn 4.
Well, there's that.
I am being a little bit facetious. I do overall agree with you that I think this is a very different, a slightly different take on the Shaman build the players have gone for. I personally think it's a bit weaker. I wouldn't rather have seen them bought the token Shaman. I'd rather cast something a bit different, but I think they would have had a better chance if they brought token Shaman.
Yes, I agree with both sentiments. As Shaxi gets the first Tolvir down onto the board, he's got Tolvir into Double Blade Master to follow up, and Netherset Ritualist to protect these minions. Now, Godan does have the ability to quite easily deal with this Tolvir, but Shaxi isn't done just yet. This is a pretty interesting start to the game.
It is indeed. I mean, already there have been a couple of interesting decisions made. Nalgodan had the ability to go Zap last turn instead of trading in his Sludge Slurper. He chose not to, however. He'd rather keep the Zap in hand, which probably, you know what? Yeah, I agree. If you can find Thunderhead or Lick Him or Spirit of the Frog, that is a fantastic card to have in hand. And when you put all of that together, it means he still is ahead on board, still has Mogu Mutate coming up, and as soon as he gets any one of those top decks that I mentioned, Nalgodan is looking to be in a great spot. Yeah,
absolutely. He's really not far, is he, from just having a brilliant start to the game. However, Circle of Healing now for Shaxi means that he can go ahead and play this big old Blade Master and then follow up next turn with second Blade Master and Netherset Ritualist, which will be even better if this Blade Master were to survive. And honestly, dealing with this Blade Master is quite awkward for Nalgodan. He could play the Mogu and trade everything in, and that's not ideal. He could play the Lava Burst and put that into the Blade Master, which also doesn't feel ideal.
There is, however, a 5-head clear. Can you see it?
A 5-head clear. Oh, what, you're going to zap the Imani Berserker?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Now we're talking.
Is that actually good?
I mean, yes. You clear it off, you get a Mogu, which turns into an 8-drop, and you can totem on the same turn. I think it's just good.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, I'm on board.
So the ordering is actually very weird, because Hero Power first is bad if you hit Spell Power, because Oh no, wait, if you hit spell power, then you just clear anyway. No, it's good. Okay, yeah. So hero power first. Yeah. Because I was gonna say, if you hit spell damage, you can't zap your own guy. But you want to play the zap after you mutate in case you hit Arcane Devourer.
Oh,
Or in case you hit Hyreek the Bat.
That
There
didn't
is
go to plan.
There is one emote and one emote only for a situation like this, and that is my good old friend Kek W. Because my lord, is that just the absolute nightmare for Nalg'Adan.
So, while Pyromancer looks pretty nice, but so does Value Trade, Blade Master, Netherset Ritualist. Pyromancer can be saved for the Circle of Healing, I suppose. I want to see Shaxi clear Hyreek the Bat so that it doesn't evolve into something competent.
Mm-hmm. I definitely want to see Hyreek die on this turn, I agree. I mean, actually not necessarily. But, yeah, probably. Oh, there we go. This looks like a good way to do it. Board control.
There you
6.
go.
Yeah, that's looking very nice.
Alright, so Nalg'Adan has a Hammer. It does have a Rockbiter weapon, but that's still only 10 damage in one turn. So let's see. Doomhammer now is 4 damage, that's 22. Rockbiter weapon plus Lava Burst is 15 damage next turn, and he wouldn't even have the mana to do all of that. Only have 4 mana next turn.
So wait, so what? He can do 4 damage this turn, 10
Yeah.
damage next turn, which is 14.
And then
Another
then
4
9
damage,
the
which
turn
is
after.
18. Yeah, and then so that's 23. I'm counting over 3 turns. So he has lethal over 4 turns as it currently stands, but you obviously have to factor in the hero powers to face, so it's actually probably not going to come there. But I think honestly at this point, is his best chance of winning this back wrestling board over the next few turns when you also have to factor in the overload, or is it pointing everything face?
Well, I mean, I guess the counterpoint is that Shaxi only has 1 card in his hand, and we know that priests do struggle when they run out of cards in the hand. And with the extra damage with the Lava Burst there, this is a surprisingly efficient clear. If we even see Rockbiter weapon to finish off the Wild Pyromancer, which with the Injured Blade Master, which we are going to see.
Sure.
And in theory, Nalg'Adan could actually win the board control game here. Powered Shield doesn't, or help Shaxi on the other side.
Yep. This is going to be a close game. When it comes to top deck boards, honestly, I could see either deck coming into the lead, honestly.
The problem is Nalg'Adan isn't going to have the mana to play the Doomhammer this turn.
Yeah, so he needs to get something
needs a
good.
decent top deck.
We're looking at Thunderhead would be good. Mogu's a bit too expensive. Or even Thunderhead actually isn't playable. It's overloaded by 1 too much.
You take the Spirit of the Frog, right? That's just an investment.
Yeah, you don't play it though, right?
Oh, it's tough. It's actually pretty tough.
Pretty sure it's just a hero power
Obviously-
instead. Like it doesn't do anything right now.
Yeah, and there's no guarantee that you draw a spell next turn. Okay. Uh-oh. 1 mana too, or 1
Actually
turn too
insane.
soon. But
That's
yeah,
fine.
that
That is
is-
so fine.
that is what he wanted to see. As Shaxi sits up in his chair, ready for the big turn. Thunderhead.
Yeah, you're going to
And
be
yeah.
taking 6 now, but let me tell you something,
Yikes.
buddy. You are not going to be wanting to take. Would that even be like
14?
35 damage off of this one, Samdi?
You follow
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and call that GG. Nalg'Adan made the very conscious decision, respectable decision to be fair, to go for board control instead of damage to face. But because
it a
he went
lot.
for that line of play, yeah, I mean, because he went for that, the lethal outs are just non-existent.
Would he have won anyway if he'd gone face? I don't. I believe
Doubt it.
Shaxi still would have won if Nalgadan went with the face plan. So a respectable decision, as you said, but unfortunately, it wasn't going to get there. And we see the Shaman deck continue to struggle, Derek.
Yeah, time and time again.
I see a dark future.
Yeah, I think you could do pretty much anything here as
I got you,
Shaxi
friend.
and very reasonably expect to come away with the win.
Hey, I got you, friend. Is someone injured?
There we go.
Gives it up. The score's now 2-1. Shaxi and Chinese Taipei in a fantastic spot this series, only having to win with their Quest Shaman against, Argentina, who still need to win with their Priest and with this Aggro Shaman, which has been struggling all day long, apart from when it was banned. But I wonder to what extent Argentina regret.
I think they'll definitely be rethinking some things, but again, we have to remember these are small sample size. I'm sure that these players put in extensive research and came away with the conclusion that, you know, yes, you're losing percentages against Druid, against Warrior probably, but I'm sure they have very good reasoning that you're picking up percentages against whatever else, maybe Priest, maybe Rogue, maybe Shaman, whatever. But they are going to have to be taking the win against this Quest Shaman twice now, as you said, with their Aggro Shaman and their combo Priest. Getting off to a pretty good start though, must be said. Heron Evolve, tickety tick tick.
Yep, with Spirit of the Shark, Spirit of the Frog ready to go as well. Seems like everything is coming. Sorry if I cut out there. Hello. Again, I heard the static disappear, so I knew I'd cut out mid-sentence. Yeah, with the lackeys, with Spirit of the Shark, with the Frog, and with the Evolve and the Hares, Nalgadan has everything that he needs up against Narina, who the hand really hasn't come together for yet. A second Evolve isn't necessarily going to fix that. He really needs to see a Desert Hare.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. He's got Lackey with a Wasp on the following turn, so he can start to fight back on board. That is a Mogu for Nalgadan, though, so that does make things a little bit harder. Just going to go out and say that. Go out on a limb. Bit tough now.
Yeah, next turn is looking ridiculous.
What do you know? When Nalgadan draws all the cards that are in the token Shaman, his hand goes well.
Oh dear.
What to do?
And Narina really struggling to work out what he wants to do about this. He knows Mogu is a possibility, so doesn't necessarily want to put more minions on the board to get that Mogu cheaper. But I don't
he
see that
can't
Narina has
just
much
pass.
choice.
Yeah. Coin Wasp. Agreed. That does mean, though, 4 minions in play. 4 plus 3 equals 7. 7 minus 7 equals 0. That is a free Mogu and a dead.
Quick maths!
Oh, like lightning, my friend. Like lightning. Hey, throw it back
this
for
looks
Narina.
like... Yeah, this is a play to end the game, isn't it? Like... I even got a Cult Master there.
Well, I mean, you say that, he just didn't get high reek, which is probably the difference maker, to be honest.
Well, that Lackey doesn't seem like it's going to make an awful lot of difference. The Lightning Bolt can dispatch the Cult Master easily enough, but it's just not enough to this board, is it?
It's not even close. I think we're going to see a huge amount of damage to Narina's face, and then I think his hero portrait is going to explode.
Finally, now Gudon looks like he's going to get that win with the aggro Shaman.
Oh, thank God he's got Lava Burst and Rock Biter now. He may be able to get lethal. How much damage actually is this? 10, 14. That Lava Burst does 7, so that's 21.
That's
24? Oh, that's not bad. And I
24
probably,
damage? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think I would just launch all of that directly to the head.
Well, you play the Lickin rather than the Rock Biter.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So Lickin is representing 3 damage next turn, Rock Biter is another 3, and that's assuming now Gudon's board gets cleared, which it's not going to.
There it is. They think about it for a while, and then they go smork. And that's going to be 2 games apiece.
It is indeed. We're getting all of the game 5s today, which is very exciting. That's what we want to see. As to see if there's any magical evolves that can save the day. No, there isn't. That's the concede. Have stepped up once more. It is game number 5. On one game, one team makes it through to the top 8. The other team will be eliminated. Shaman, Quest Shaman versus Combo Priest. Derek, I'm going to ask you to call it one more time. What do you think?
I mean, I'm feeling like Argentina are in a good spot now. Combo Priest versus Quest Shaman is, it was one of the most commonly Grandmaster Season 2, and quite consistently, the Shaman was losing. The Priest was just able to make 1 or 2 big minions that little bit too often, which the Shaman couldn't overcome. And I think even just looking at this hand for Nalgordan, he already has the makings of a hand that can make that big minion, which Shaman struggles to deal with. Oof. Look at that.
Yeah. Oh, we got a tortoise on screen now.
Wait, what?
You see, Nalgordan just held up a tortoise.
Yeah. So he's got a puppy and a tortoise. He's got a right little menagerie going on.
Job's done.
Yeah, with Cleric, Pyromancers, and Circles, it does look like Nalgordan has most of what he needs
Is
here.
someone injured?
Cleric on 1, 100% safe. Oh no, sorry. In this instance, 1 out of 6 safe, because maybe they get the Goblin Lackey to take it out, but
Goblin
usually
Lackey.
completely safe.
Yeah, there's no 0 mana spell that's going to deal with that either. Even Beacon Lightning, not quite good enough.
I'm looking at Totemic Smash for a bit of instant answerage. Oi, 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 oi. Oh!
Oh
This
my
is insane.
goodness.
This is insane!
Are you just doing it now? Pyromancer, Coin, Circle,
I don't even know, honestly.
and then Circle again.
Maybe you're supposed to just trade and heal there, take a turn off before you start drawing like mega cards.
You don't want to risk losing the Cleric before you get the chance to do this, though.
What kills it though? Like if you trade and heal, it has to be 2 damage on 2 mana. Like there's basically nothing in the deck that does that.
Second Lackey, Discovered Spell.
Yeah, I guess the Discovered Spell, yeah, sure. And this is fine, you know, it draws 2 cards for 0 mana.
You're going to draw another 2.
Yeah, sure.
Now that Nether set's been drawn, next turn
yes.
they can do it again next turn.
Is that good though? Like with a Blade Master in hand, surely you want to start making that big minion that I was talking about. I'm actually not sold necessarily on the second Circle of Healing there. I think I actually wanted to see that
Sure.
saved because like drawing cards are good, but in all likelihood your cleric doesn't die anyway. I think it's reasonable to assume your cleric survives. Actually, it would have to be discovered spell or second Sludge Slurper for your for your cleric to die here, and I think that's all considered pretty unlikely. So I would have liked to have seen the
Well,
second circle held.
I partially agree, but I think you can assume that your opponent discovered a spell that would deal with the cleric, right? If given the option. And there's
Right.
quite a few. There's Zap, Lightning Bolt, Totemic Smash. Is that all of them? I'm sure there's a couple more.
Well, I mean, the thing is,
Forks
even if
Lightning
they
would have
do...
done it there.
Right, but even if they have that, it's not necessarily a downside. Even if your cleric dies, you still end up with a 4/7 on the following turn, which is very, very
True.
powerful.
Yeah, I do agree with you there, actually. And losing that circle, losing the ability to create the 4/7.
Yeah.
Does have its downsides. However, it looks like now Gul'dan is going to be rewarded as the Netherset is going to find its target next turn, unless
For sure.
Jaxi finds Goblin Lackey right now.
Yeah, it worked out very nicely here for Nalg'Dadan. And to be fair, you know, maybe he thought through an iteration, well, I'm sure he did think through an iteration exactly like this.
Job done.
What is Elun's will?
How does Nalg'Dadan want to go about doing this? Several good options available. Into Tolvir, into Netherset, or just extra arms into Netherset. Netherset into extra arms like this.
Will?
There's a lot to
Well,
think about.
Again, extra arms does cost 3 mana and not 2.
Oh,
but-
thank you, thank you. Oh my, what is wrong with me with that card? Jeez.
Yeah.
Right. Use it now.
I think I'm okay with this line here. Yeah. I was wondering if you should get down the Tolvir, but I think the real thing here is just making sure you don't play too minions, because that's the way that you could lose to MCT.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another thing you could lose to, though.
Yep, Desert Hair into Evolve is going to be the comeback, especially with Mogu available as well. Goblin Lackey oh no, it can't be played because of sequencing things. Sludge Step is fine though.
Mortals are so
Pretty devastating for Nalg'Dadan, and if there's any kind of a decent 8-drop bound here, this could just be a dead 7/6 as well.
Oh.
Those are pretty good. I'd take that.
So how does Nalg'Dadan deal with it? Barely any spells left in the hand now. Pyromancer Extra Arms is the only spell option, and that's just not going to do enough. Pops the Divine Shield, and that's about it.
I wonder.
So if you just push face as Nalg'Dadan, you get 9 damage in. I don't think that ever leads to a victory, even if you put up both taunts in the way.
Haste. I wonder.
Yeah, he's got to keep fighting forward, it's the only choice.
I've got more left in me. Right. Use it now.
But while it may be his only choice, it does not look like it is going to be a winning choice here, because Jaxi with double Lackey plus Wasp as well should just be able to clear up this entire board pretty easily, as I see it.
Yep, yep. The evolve was a very powerful swing turn indeed. It just again goes to show how strong Hair Evolve and Mogu all are when played together. And yeah, with that Wasp being played, the quest is completed, the board is clear, and Nelkudan pretty much has to rely on that Bronsamdi to come back. But given how powerful Shaxxi's grip on the board is, it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Double cut and double
Pretty good legendary.
Octosari, it's just one of those cards that every time it appears, randomly generated in any game, you have to laugh. It's
just funny.
yeah.
Good Pyromancer here, to be fair to Nalgridan. He's able to clear off a few of these minions, but that still, to me, does not look like a winning play. Maybe, however, if he goes Pyromancer, clear some stuff off into Bronsamdi, then we're looking at a chance. Like, I don't want to call this over yet. If Shaxxi gets some bad draws, this could still be a game for Nalgridan.
Do you like to play with fire?
Okay. Okay, sure, sure. Actually, cleared up a reasonable amount of this board. And if Test Greymane does have to trade, then that's a really good result for Argentina.
The really nutty thing is, though, that Shaxxi can actually draw 2 cards here off of the Life Drinker with the Soup Vendor on board.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's insane. That's,
that's
genuinely really helpful.
Yeah. Like, there's an argument that he should just go for it once and then maybe play the hair off the top, but I think I probably prefer drawing 2 cards while you can. Like, you still set up a decent board.
Like, there's still nothing on the board for the priest, and drawing cards is a good way of preparing for the only stuff that you really lose to, which is Bronsamdi into armor into 1-drops.
Yeah.
So yeah, ultimately they do decide to go with the hero power. Wow.
And all of a sudden, Nalgridan is actually ahead on board. He's able to play the Bronsamdi, draw a whole bunch from his deck, and potentially threaten a decent amount of pressure over the next few turns. I can't believe this game is still going.
No, I can't either, but Shaxxi doesn't have a clear way of clearing the Bronsamdi unless he does decide to throw in the Mogu Flesh Shaper, which feels horrendous, but might actually have to be done here. I guess he could just play everything, right? He could go Evil Totem, Desert Hare, Mogu, and trade everything, leaving himself with the Evil Totem and the Hare on the board. Or just plonk Octosari down, alright.
Yes! I love it. This is the big boy play right here. Alright, so how does Nalgridan take advantage of this? He has a 7/7 on board, which, if you haven't won the game at that point as Priest, you know, having a 7/7 on board is pretty important, and you have to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, granted, it was unlikely that he was going to just win the turn immediately, as Shaxxi knows that most cards in Nalgridan's hand are just 1-drops drawn from the Bronsamdi, so he knew that he wasn't like guaranteed dead here.
So it could be extra arms, beaming sidekick, cleric heal, which is the full 8 mana, I believe, and would bring your Bronsamdi back up to above dying point.
Okay.
And of course, trading the Octosari is the point.
Well, is there a world in which you can prevent the Octosari from being destroyed? Because you don't really
is
want
an intriguing
the
idea.
shaman to, you don't want the shaman to draw all of the cards.
It's true. I guess that's the game plan then.
So yeah, I mean, keeping
Hey,
firstly keeping the Bronze Assembly at less than 8 attacks is relevant, and also putting the Taunt up in the way also relevant. And the Sandstorm Elemental with the hero power is really strong. It does allow Shaxi to deal with the entire board, actually, even forgetting about Mogu. But it is going to be MC Tech first.
The MC and then go for the Sandstorm is actually just insane. Oh!
Yeah. Trade in the 1/2 and then play Sandstorm, I guess.
Yep.
Wow.
And then trade. You've got backboard. Yeah, that's probably just game. Wow. This was a way closer game than I was anticipating here.
Absolutely. This game flip-flopped quite a lot at the end. But now Gudan, despite the powerful Bonsami turn, it's not enough to deal with what was an incredible evolve from Shaxi. It turns out Octosauri just stayed 8 was good enough.
Yeah, it was indeed.
Oh dear.
Yeah, there we go. Of course.
Is that a rage quit there? Or?
Maybe, actually, honestly, like at this point, you're just like, whatever. Let's get out of here.
I think we are probably good to call that game if the
What
production team
is
agree.
Elun's will?
Shaxi very clearly does take the win there. There's nothing now Gudan can do to get this back. And
hello.
there you go. Hello, Derek. It looks like Chinese Taipei will be joining Hong Kong as the winners of Group B. Well, these have been some insane series in this group, don't you think?
Agreed. I think I was maybe a little bit harsh on Chinese Taipei at first, but to be fair, I think they've also improved as the days have, a couple of days that we've seen them play, as that has gone on. They've been playing a lot better today, I think, than they were yesterday or even earlier on in the day. Definitely tightened things up, and maybe for the next stage of their tournament, if they are submitting what I would argue is a better lineup, I think Chinese Taipei are in a fantastic spot to get through to be the champions, as they will be playing in the top 8 in just a couple of weeks' time.
Absolutely. And there you go. We see an updated scoreboard beneath us. Chinese Taipei did get that win, obviously. I'm wondering if we have a bracket to show, and if so, we'll go ahead and show that. Concluded. There it is. The concluded Group B bracket. Hong Kong and Chinese Taipei both qualified, knocking out Argentina and Mexico. Sadly, for those teams, we will not be seeing those again. But yes, for Hong Kong and Chinese Taipei, tournament will resume in a few weeks after Descent of Dragons comes out. The weekend of the 22nd, 23rd of December will be the finals. But before we get to that week, we still have 2 more groups to finish up. And next up is going to be Group C, which I'm particularly excited for. That's going to be the UK, Italy, Norway, and France. Some very powerful European teams. The first game in that group is going to be coming up after this short break.